What's going on, guys? It's Jimmy here. Welcome to our daily show where we discuss everything going on here in our country that you need to know about here on a daily basis. We got a lot to talk about here in this video, but the first thing I want to talk about here is a major kind of conspiracy theory. Let me know if you've heard this one. Well, first, we'll talk about a fact here that some IRS agents are armed with guns, which is true, which is true. But then we're kind of hearing that the IRS might audit you and can use these against you. And have you heard anything like this? And that Biden is arming the IRS, and potentially, if you get audited, that these IRS agents are going to maybe use this against you or anything like that. Have you heard this? Um, yeah. So I love a good conspiracy theory. Sometimes sometimes there's these conspiracy theories about maybe the pyramids being built, and just sometimes you get these conspiracy theories like, well, we don't know because and sometimes you get these theories about like well, they didn't have the tools to build some of these projects back in the day. I get the some of these things, but some of these things are really interesting, right? But if we know the answers about some of this, then it's a different story, right? Then it's a different story. And let me show you some details on this because I looked into some of this and I did some research on this. And you guys can look this up too here. Here, let me show you some of these details here. And I'll give you a little bit of this backstory here too. Check this out. Yeah, so here's like one of the ones I came across here. Is Biden arming the IRS? From Republican Congressman Matt Gaetz. The government is arming up the IRS because, quote, Joe Biden is raising taxes and disarming Americans. And this PolitiFacts ruling is false here. Here's why. A division of the IRS that has existed for more than a century is getting a lot of attention on social media and conservative media. So there's a division of the IRS that has existed for more than a century. We'll go into the details here. Fox News host Tucker Carlson led a segment on his show on August 4th by telling his audience to be worried because the government is, quote, treating the IRS as a military agency. That's a quote, and stockpiling ammunition. He asked guests, Congressman, U.S. Representative Matt Gaetz, a Republican from Florida, says, quote, why would the IRS need millions of dollars worth of guns and ammo? Gaetz replies, well, quote, Joe Biden is raising taxes, disarming Americans. So, of course, they are arming up the IRS like they are preparing to take Fallujah. Gaetz's comments about Biden came after Carlson cited reports from 2018 and 2020 about the IRS's spending on weapons and ammunition, expenditures that happened before Biden took office, which is ironic. Gaetz went on to say that the IRS has also spent $731,000 this year. He didn't specifically say on what, to, quote, literally weaponize your country against you. But the reports were from 2018 and 2020 when Trump was in office. But I guess that's neither here nor there. But in June, Gaetz, who co-sponsored a bill to prevent the IRS from purchasing ammunition, made a similar allegation in an interview with Fox News host Jesse Waters. He then accused the Biden administration of suppressing access to ammunition for regular Americans while scooping up all of the ammo they can possibly find. In this interview, he said the IRS spent $725,000 this year on ammunition, which is true. He also cited that figure in June. Here's what we know. The IRS did spend about $725,000 this year on ammunition, but that is not unusual and is actually a bit less than what they spent in other recent years. So this part is true. Here's why. These purchases are not new or unique to the Biden administration. They have been made for an IRS division that has been armed for more than a century, 100 years. That's right. The IRS buys guns and ammo yearly for the IRS criminal investigations. The division, or one division, that has jurisdiction over federal tax crimes. The people who work there are not the typical auditors that Americans facing routine audits will encounter. The vast majority of those audits are done by mail. The division in which these agents are armed was established in 1919. That's before Social Security even existed. When it was called the Intelligence Unit, according to the division's 2019 report underneath former President Donald Trump. The unit famously investigated gangster Al Capone, who was convicted on tax evasion charges. It was renamed the IRS Criminal Investigation Unit in 1978, back when Jimmy Carter was president. Special agents in the division investigate a number of crimes, including money laundering, cybercrime, financial fraud, and narcotics-related crime. Recently, they've been part of a multi-agency task force tracking down assets of Russian oligarchs. So you could see why they potentially might need to be armed. They're almost like a criminal task force. Well, actually, they are kind of like a criminal task force. The division had 2,046 special agents in 2021, a little less than the 2,159 agents they had in 2017. Those numbers haven't changed much in 5 years, according to annual reports available on their website that you can look up that are public information. The 2022 report hasn't not yet been published yet. The numbers haven't changed much in decades. And the division chief, Don Fort, wrote, "We've had the same number of special agents, around 2,200, as we did 50 years ago." Special agents train for weeks at the National Criminal Investigation Training Academy in Georgia. That includes firearm training and handgun qualifications for agents, which is a big reason for large order of ammunition. They probably use a lot of ammo going through training and shooting and, all that type of stuff. They ordered $725,000 worth of ammunition for the entire year for 2020, according to political figures. That's slightly more than what was spent in 2020 and 2021. But back in 2011, 10 years ago, they actually spent $1.1 million in ammo. So, yeah, you got to remember this is for the entire country. I mean, there's 330 million people in the whole country. So, The report notes that the numbers don't include weapons or ammo purchased for a separate IRS police force of fewer than a dozen officers provided and other probably such matters as well. And that they also keep ammo on hand to last for several months for use of training and in case of probably emergencies. Now, here's where conspiracy theories find might find their bells dinging a little bit interesting, though. I think you can, if you're a conspiracy theorist, here's where you might say, Jimmy, with this might sound a little bit interesting. And I might agree with you here. Matt Gaetz mentioned the other government agencies may be surprised to find purchasing guns and ammo for law enforcement officers in other departments. Gaetz mentioned the Department of Agriculture buys weapons and ammos for the U.S. Forest Service. The Department of Education, which honestly, with all the school shooting incidences, I can maybe see why they might need something like that, but interesting. The Office of Inspector General and the GAO report lists several others, including the Department of Health and Human Services and the Food and Drug Administration. So, probably almost every government organization is buying guns and ammo, or most of them. So, Matt Gaetz' claim that the IRS is raising taxes and disarming Americans through the IRS. I mean, I think that we all can agree. I mean, you could let me know your thoughts here. But this has been going on for 100 years, since 1919. Yeah. So, yeah, a lot of this conspiracy theory stuff, if you look into it, it can be verified pretty easily. If it's something, a lot of people just I mean, you can let me know your thoughts here, but yeah, I found that pretty interesting actually. Next up, another government agency, well, kind of, the Fed. Next up, another government agency, well, kind of, the Fed is going to be raising interest rates again. Yeah. And maybe several times more this year. Yeah. You can see here, we just got the Federal Reserve minutes, which is basically their notes. You can see here, Federal Reserve minutes show more rate hikes in the pipeline, but the pace could slow. Remember, we just got two massive interest rate hikes called triple interest rate hikes of 0.75%. Basically, a common interest rate hike now is 0.25, or a quarter of an interest rate hike. So we just got a 0.75 and a 0.75 for a total of 1.5% of an interest rate hike, basically within 2 months here. So interest rates went up 1.5% in 60 days. And we had a couple interest rate hikes before then. We've gone up over 2% of interest rates hikes here in the total of like 3 or 4 months, which is unbelievable. I can't even. That might be the fastest interest rate hikes we've ever had, if not one of the top, like one or two, maybe two, one top three interest rate hikes we've ever had, the fastest in the history of ever. So, I mean, you'd have to go, and I haven't looked up that particular statistic, but it's been one of the quickest interest rate hikes we've ever had for sure. So, going up 2% or more in just a few months, and it's been kind of brutal on a lot of people, because it's particularly in the home market for home buyers. Credit card interest rates have started to go up. Those are variable, by the way. You might not know this. If you've been watching my channel, you probably know this. But your credit card interest rate is variable. So if you pay attention to your credit card interest rates, I know that most people probably don't, because it's just one of those things you don't really watch. But your credit card APR, annual percentage rate, is variable. So next time you get your statement, pay attention to that, or look at what your APR is. Most credit card have probably started to raise that, unless you're already at a really high rate or something like that. And if they haven't raised it, God bless you. May the force be with you that they don't. But interest rates have started to go up over 2% here already. And, if your credit card is like 10%, 15%, 20%, and it goes up, if they raise it, 1% or 2% on you, that's a 10 to 20% raise. That can be dramatic. Okay, you got to think in terms of relative here because they're not going to raise it. They're not going to go from 10% on a credit card to 10.1. That's not what they're going to do. They're going to raise it from 10 to 10 and a half, 10 to 11. They're going to just raise it on a pretty big amount. We've seen this with home rates where home mortgage rates have gone from, oh, we were seeing home mortgages in the, like I have a 5-1 arm it's just basically like a 30-year mortgage that kind of readjusts every 5 years. And that's just kind of what I was okay with. And I have it at like 2.3%, I think it is. I'd have to go and look up the exact number. 2.3%. Okay. And you were actually able to get 30-year mortgages at one point, almost as low as that. Okay. And under 3% for sure. Okay. And now 30-year mortgages are like at 7%, almost at 7%. Yeah, let's look at 30-year mortgage rates for California. That's just the largest state population-wise. So let's just pick California here today. So 30-year fixed, 6.9%. And this is with the top credit score, guys, on a $300,000 house or loan, which in California, you might not be able to get anything for that price. If you need something for 500,000, wow, interestingly, it's a little bit less. It's interesting. But remember, the average home is now over 300,000 here. That's with the top credit score. If you gotta go, let's see here, 6.9. If you're at 650, look at that, 7.5%. If you're at 600, data not available. Yikes. Let's go this next tier up. Data not available. Maybe, wow. Yikes. 7.5%. So yeah, you can see here, and you can see how graphs here have gone up, up, up. And this is only a graph here of the last, that's like the last 2 months, the last 60 days. And you can see how much they've gone up here dramatically. So yeah. And you can see here FHA, which is first-time home buyers, and VA for veterans, a little bit cheaper. Not everybody qualifies for those, of course. This is with a 20% down payment as well. Not everybody has that. 20% down would be $60,000. Not everybody has that. And that's on only a $300,000 loan. A lot of homes are a lot more than that. So that's another significant thing here. You are able to get loans lower than that on FHA and other type of loans, but then you're going to pay something called PMI, which is private mortgage insurance. I'll just bring this up because I always get a question on what is PMI, Jimmy? PMI, private mortgage insurance, it's called PMI. It's a type of mortgage insurance you might be required to pay for if you have a conventional loan. And it protects the lender if you stop making payments on your loan. It's arranged by the lender and required by the government when you don't have a down payment of 20% of the home's purchase price in a lot of cases. Not necessarily all the time, but this is most of the time required by the government. Okay. So the problem with this is if you don't have that 20% down payment, you're going to be required to pay hundreds of dollars extra per month to guarantee your loan, because what it kind of happens is if you go to take out a loan on a $300,000 home and they go, okay, well, you qualify for an FHA loan, but we see that you only have like $3,000 in the bank, and that in the bank side says, well, you're a higher risk because if you get in any type of financial difficulty, you're only 1 month away from not being able to make your payment. Okay, because if your payment is, $1 or $2,000 a month or whatever it is, and you only have $2,000 in the bank, you're literally 2 months, 1 or 2 months away from not being able to make your payment. So this is in the eyes of financial institutions, banks. They're like, yeah, and you don't have 20% down, which in this case on a $300,000 home is $60,000. You're going to have to pay PMI, which is private mortgage insurance. And what this is going to do is this is going to pay insurance to an insurance company for the lender. So if you default, this will actually kind of pay an insurance company to protect the lender. Because what might happen is in the course of thousands and thousands of homes, when a bunch of people default, and we look back at the 2008 2009 crisis, when um, millions of homes defaulted, the banks lost their shorts, for relatively speaking, figuratively speaking, both maybe. So millions of homes defaulted, millions of people defaulted, and we've seen a massive recession, maybe similar to what we've seen in 2020. And now with interest rates rising, now we might see something like this again. Interest rates rising could happen again. We'll see. I'll keep you up to date on this. In fact, we're seeing a significant change on home prices right now. I'll get to that here in one quick second. But this PMI, it guarantees the lenders, because these banks are putting up millions of dollars on homes. And if people start defaulting by lots and lots of numbers, millions of people, hundreds of thousands of people, and then they have to go and foreclose on homes and sell them in large amounts, the banks will start taking significant losses. Because what happens is then they got to go sell the home, and a lot of times they lose money on the homes, because right now it was a hot housing market, but now it's starting to significantly cool. I'll show you. Mortgage applications have cratered to their lowest point since 2000. This was an article back from July 21st. So July, August. This is now a month old here. So the amount of people buying and closing on homes is actually the lowest point since 22 years ago, because interest rates have gone up. So we're no longer in the days where multiple bidding and people bidding over asking price, people bidding 25,000, 50,000, $100,000 over asking price. So people are paying more for their interest rates, but they're not going to be paying 50,000, $100,000 over the asking price. So it is kind of it's a good thing, bad thing, in that you're not going to pay 50,000 or $100,000, $25,000 over asking price. You're not going to be bidding against 20 other people. Okay. You can see here mortgage applications have cratered to their lowest point since 2000. So you're likely to save a lot of money because you're not going to bid against dozens of other people. And it's the day the house goes for sale, you're not going to be competing against all these other people, because it's just the housing market has significantly slowed. But you're going to pay more money in interest. But in a few years, when interest rates come back down, whether that's in 1 year, 2 years, 3 years, 5 years, I highly don't think it'll be more than 5 years. Just if you look at the way interest rates are, it for sure, in my eyes, won't be more than 10 years. That's almost insane for something like that to happen. Anything's possible, but just at the historic rates of trends, if the government doesn't want to keep interest rates that high either, they're paying interest on interest. Then you can refinance and get that lower interest rate and bring your payment back down. But if you pay 50,000 or 100,000 over asking price, you can never get that money back. So let me know your thoughts here in the comment section. Paying 50,000 or 100,000 dollars over asking price has never happened here before this type of housing mania we just had. And that is a sign that things are coming back to normal. So that is one sign of a good thing. Let me know your thoughts here because that made homes unaffordable for a lot of people, and it wasn't a realistic thing. And hopefully, we don't ever go back to that because that was crazy. It was like tulip mania when tulips, back in the day when we had tulip mania, hundreds of years ago, when tulips just sold for like the price of a house and then that came crashing down. We don't want to see that again with housing. It's just not something that's good for America. So let me know your thoughts in the comments. I'll keep you up to date here with everything going on here in our country on a daily basis. Make sure to subscribe down below to our YouTube channel and click the bell icon and hit the like button for us if you haven't yet. It's completely free to do so, and this way you won't miss out on new videos. You can click here to see a $3,000 check and billions of dollars that were just approved for Americans, and here on Social Security raises. So click on one of those videos next. Thanks for watching, guys, and I'll see you in the next video.